Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Oluwafunto and I'm an international student studying and living in Moscow, Russia. You can see at the description bar, we're talking about what it takes to study in Russia. So I'm taking you guys through some processes of what I went through when I applied for my degree and when I applied for my visa. So first and foremost, when did I so I'll be looking down to my laptop screen because I wrote down some things that I would want to discuss with you guys. People have been asking me to help them apply to schools. I'm not a school agent. I don't apply for school. And I think that I need to make that clear. And it doesn't look like I'm being savage or I'm being rude. I'm not a school agent. I can put you through, I can help you review your essays, which I won't help you to review my essays for me, but I mean I think I can still do like a good a fair amount of justice to your paper. So with that being said, let's dig down into today's video. So guys, I think I applied for my degree in February. I'm not really sure. I think January, February. Yeah, I applied to HTC around that period, and I mean, it was quite an easy process. So the first thing you do is you have to open an account on HTC's website, student website. You open an account and you fill in your details. After you do that, I think there are about 8 to 10 steps during the application process. So you can't go to the next stage unless the school bots satisfy that you can go to the next page. So you go through the step-by-step stage of your application and you apply. And once you apply for your degree, if you are qualified, they send you a mail, and yes, that's it. They send you a mail if you are qualified, and if you want a scholarship during the process of the application, maybe you have an outstanding application or you didn't get like the government scholarship, maybe you didn't apply for the government scholarship and then you stated in your application that you would want a scholarship, they will provide a scholarship for you. And scholarship ranges from 25% to 100%, depending on your story, basically. So, one mistake I made was telling them that I could afford studying here. I could afford paying my school fees. And it was because, it was a mistake because I'd gotten rejected by a number of schools and actually just wanted to go to school that last year. And I said, oh yes, I can afford it. I can afford going to school. I got home, I told my sister that, oh, you should have just told them that you can't afford it. Like, this admission is for you, it's for you. So don't make that same mistake. Even if you can afford it, tell them you can afford it. But if you can afford it genuinely, like your parents don't mind dashing you $10,000 to go and study abroad, don't say you can't afford it. But if you're like me, you can tell them that you can afford it, because to be honest, it pays on the long run if you tell them you can afford it and then you get 100% scholarship. Right. So after your application, after you've gotten the scholarship and you've gotten the admission, then the next thing is you apply for your you apply for your visa invitation letter, still on the school portal. I think that's like the last thing for you to do. You apply for your visa application, your visa invitation letter, and ideally it comes in like 40 working days. So once it comes in, you are able to take it to the embassy in Abuja and you apply for your visa. HSC admission process is quite easy for me, to be very honest, and you don't pay any application fee for HSC. There are no extra charges when you're applying for HSC admission, or to HSC school, whichever English is correct. And yeah, that's about that. So once you get your invitation letter, you go to the embassy in Abuja. And if you're going to the embassy in Abuja with your invitation letter, these are the things you should take along with you. Take along your invitation letter, take along your international passport, take along a negative result HIV certificate. It must be signed or stamped by a government hospital. They don't take from private hospitals. It has to be a government hospital, and it has to be signed or stamped. It can be both, but either one um to confirm that it's original and from a government hospital. So you have to do that so that your I'll list it on the screen, but then let me try go back on that. So you take your passport, your invitation letter that was sent to you by the school, or depending on who you are, if you are a government scholar, like you're on scholarship, so you get your invitation letter from the government or from the Ministry of Education in Russia. And if you're a fee paying student, you get from your university. Then you take your international passport, like I said that. Then you take your HIV results, signed or stamped. Then your bachelor's, if you're doing masters, your bachelor's transcript and bachelor's certificate, stamped by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Ministry of Education in Abuja. And don't let them cheat you at those ministries. If you want to save money, right, go early enough, not when it's almost time for rush hour or that. Pay so that you'll be able to have enough time and you pay the right amount of money. It's 300 naira, period. But if you meet people at the gates, they will tell you, oh, it's 3,000, it's 5,000. No. So you have to go into the office yourself and go through the process yourself. By that, you're saving like about 2,000 naira, 2,700 naira. So you do that, and once you have all your complete documents, you go back to the embassy and you submit all these documents to the embassy, and then they run through your documents if it's original and if it's complete. If it's complete and original, you proceed to having your interview right on the spot, right? And I'm going to advise you, if you're going for your interview, be sure that you are aware of like the basic things in the course you're going to study in Russia, because they do tests. Weird, maybe not weird, but they do tests. I don't know if that has changed, but when I went to apply for my visa, I was asked some basic questions in international relations, and a guy that was going to study mathematics was asked to solve an algebraic equation. And so you do, after the interview, that is when you do like the test. The test is also like on the spot, but like some questions come right before you do the quiz or the written. But for my case, it was not written because it was something I could say by with my mouth, right? It was like, oh, when did the second war start, when did it end? Okay, you are international relations, and what is the UN something about? You are this, you are that. And one thing I'm going to say is, even if you're not sure, be so confident. Be very confident in yourself, because confidence matters at the consular's office, to be very honest. And be very confident in yourself. And after this process, I mean, it's not a long process, to be honest. Studying in Russia, I don't think it's a whole lot of hassle. So it's quite an easy process for you if you want to take time. You don't need to use an agent. You don't need to use anybody. And one question I've also gotten recently, like often, is, oh, I'm 18, I'm 32, I'm 42. Can I study in Russia? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Because I have someone that is married in my class. He's a Nigerian, he's married, he has a business here in Russia, and he's in my class. And at the same time, I have people that are 21, that just clocked 22, that are doing master's degree. So, I mean, it just depending on how you submit your application and whatever you have to do and whatever you have to do. So, back to the consular thing. So, once you apply for your visa and submit your document, you go back home. If you're like me that paid for express visa, your visa is gonna be out in 2 working days. If you pay for normal visa, I don't know how long that takes, but I think it comes out like in 2 3 weeks or so. But I paid for an express visa and it came out in 2 days. So that is that. And do not laminate your paper. Do not laminate any of your documents. If it's laminated, it will not be accepted at the embassy. So put that also in consideration. Right. So after you've applied and they've told you to come back within the speculated time of your visa availability, when your visa is going to be ready, you go pick up your visa. It's either approved or not approved. But then the approval of your visa is dependent on your confidence during your time with with the consular. Because there was a time I was asked, oh, so you finished a 2-2, what's, and okay, the consular goes this way, says, oh, Habimbola, you finished a 2-2, what's the guarantee that you're going to do well when you go to Russia? Because it's difficult studying in Russia. Man, I'm like, are you trying to scare me right now? So I had to explain to him that, oh, that when I was during my bachelor's degree, I was sick and I had to do a surgery. And in my first year, I was in and out of school. I was in and out of the school and the clinic simultaneously. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry about that. Oh, now that you've done your surgery, are you better now? I'm like, oh, yeah, I did the surgery like a lot of years ago. So I was like, oh, so you're good. Are you going to be able to handle the pressure that comes to studying in Russia? And then it dawned on me that, okay, looks like it's hard studying in this country, but I'll give it all it takes. So I'm like, oh, yes. But like, oh, so you're gonna have A's and B's. I'm like, oh, obviously that's the aim. That the aim is even to have a red diploma. A red diploma is like first class, basically. I was like, oh, that's impressive. And then we rode, and yeah, I went to pick up my visa on the second day, and yalla, my visa was approved. And right there and then, I called my parents, I called my friends. I'm like, oh yes, I got my visa. Yeah, so I was super happy. And then the following, I think it was that same day when I got back home, I booked my flight to Russia. So let me tell you guys something. Unlike every other countries, that when you get your visa, you can wait as long as you want to go back to resume or to travel to that country. In Russia, it's not like that, because Russia visa is valid for 90 days. Whether you're a student, whether you are a worker, whatever, it's only valid for 90 working. Is it working days or just 90 days? I'm not sure, but like 90 days. I don't know if it's working days or like random, like normal, even weekend counted. But yeah, it's just valid for 90 days. And the day you pick up your visa, it start counting from that day, right? So I will not advise that you waste any time. And as much as it's valid for 90 days, once you enter Russia, you are supposed to renew your visa. You're supposed to apply for a visa renewal 45 days before your visa expires, which means that you only have just 45 days from the day you picked. 44 days actually, because the day you pick it up, it's a day one. So which means you literally have like 44 working days to leave Nigeria or leave your country with, if you are someone that needs to apply for visa to enter Russia. You literally need 45 days to leave your country, so that you'll be able to apply for a visa renewal, and so that your visa will not expire along the line. Because if you apply like say like day 50 of your arrival in Russia and your visa is expiring in 40 days, the probability that your new visa would be available within that 40 days, it's not guaranteed. And invitation letter and you've gotten your visa, inform your university about this, that, oh, I've gotten my visa and this is the day I will be coming to the country. Because if you don't sit on officials' neck in Russia, they will not do anything. And I am being serious with you guys right now. So you have to be someone that likes sitting on people's neck if you want to study here in Russia and to get things done for you. Do we get it? Yeah. So I reach out to your university, tell them that, oh, this is the day you'll be coming, send them your flight itinerary so that they'll be able to add your name to the immigration portal website. Because if they don't, once you fly into Russia, you will not be allowed entry unless they contact your school and ask them, oh, this person is coming into the country, and God bless you, it's a weekend. You will sit at the airport so somebody answers you. This is my experience, so I'm sharing from experience, right? So I told my school that I was going to be flying into Russia on the 10th of November, and I mean, I told them this since the day I got my visa. I think I got my visa on the 3rd of November. So I got my visa on the 3rd of November. The day I got my visa was the day I told them that I was going to be leaving. I was going to be coming to Russia on the 10th, because I knew that was when I wanted to leave. I wanted to get to Russia, right? So even before buying ticket, I told them that I was going to be coming on the 10th of November. They're like, okay. So I got my ticket, and then I sent the itinerary to my program manager. Yes, I sent my itinerary to my program manager. She was like, okay. Go to the airport, and then they were like, oh, you can't go into you can't check you can't move, you can't do this, you have to sit at the airport at the immigration office side, and da. I'm like, okay, what's happening? I mean, they didn't even tell me what was happening at first. They just kept moving around trying to figure out my passport and all. And then I had a point, I had to ask them. I'm like, oh, did you speak English? They're like, oh no, they don't speak English. I'm like, but you just responded in English, so stop playing around. And then he laughed, and I'm like, okay, so yes, now that we've established the fact that you speak English, sorry, what is the problem? Why are you guys keeping me here? And then we're like, oh, your name is not on the immigration portal. And I'm like, oh gosh. And I think November 10th is a weekend. If it's not a weekend, then I think I got in very late. I think I got to Russia like about 6 p.m., 7 p.m. So obviously it was close of business. And I'm like, oh, nice. So I mean, when I ended up finding out that this was like about 2 hours later, and Joyce was waiting for me at the airport. And when we figured out this was the issue, I just had to contact my hostel manager, and I had to call Ekaterina, that's my program manager, and I had to call, and she's like, oh, I don't pick calls on weekend. I'm like, excuse me, I'm at the airport. And she's sorry, da. So they sorted that out, and then I had to go in. So the summary of this gist is, guys, when you get your visa, when you get your passport, try to notify your school that you're coming on this day. So I left Nigeria on the 9th of November, and I got to Russia on the 10th of November. So now that you are in Moscow, now that you're in Russia, depending on the city you're in, now that you're in Russia, right? So what do you have to do? Settle in, buy a SIM card, have friends. So for like a school like HTC has a buddy system, which means someone is assigned to you. Apply, so, and is on your registration portal too. So you apply for a school buddy, someone that will come and pick you up at the airport. Apparently mine didn't come and pick me up at the airport because Joyce was available to come and do that for me. So Joyce came to pick me up at the airport. So now that you're in the country, settle down, try to put together all your documents, go to your international student office, try to renew, try to apply for your visa extension, apply for social card. Your social card is like a transport card for you, discount transport card. Apply for necessary things that needs to be applied for. I think in another video I'm going to tell you things that you need to apply for, and cards you have to have in Russia, and apps you have to have in Russia to have like an easy stay here in Russia as an international student. So now that you've done that, what else? What next? Enjoy yourself, go to school, go to class, abide by the rules of the country, always tap in your transport card so you don't have to pay fine of 5,000 rubles, because 5,000 rubles is about 35,000 naira ish if you don't tap it. And how much is it? It's just 40 rubles. 40 rubles is about 200 naira. So if you don't tap it in, you would rather pay 40 rubles than pay 5,000 rubles. So just abide by the rules, study and have friends, make friends, go out. Don't be like me, that is all about school, 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 school. So have fun. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Thank you guys. I love you guys so much. And please do not forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on your notification bell so you can be notified whenever I post a new video. Thank you guys, and catch you guys in my next video.